you know. So a lot of people want to see me fail, and that ain't gonna happen. Fifth round pick, I got skipped by everybody at least 5 times. so it's not. It just come with the game, you know. It is what it is. But I'm just thankful for where I am now.
Shedeur Sanders just won his first NFL game and delivered the most real post-game interview you'll ever see. No filter, no BS, pure fire. Shedeur Sanders just ended a 30-year drought with only 1 week of prep time. Now he's sitting across from the same media that wrote him off, and he's not holding anything back. This ain't your average rookie press conference. This is straight-up vindication. The final whistle blew, the curse was dead, the haters went silent. Then Shedeur Sanders walked into that press room and gave us something you almost never see in today's NFL: 100% unfiltered honesty. Let's talk about the biggest revelation. The pressure that was supposed to crush him, it never showed up.
Very relaxed, very relaxed. And half of that comes from preparing, studying, and knowing I got God on my side. So throughout all that, I had no worries. I didn't feel nervous or anything before the game because, you know, like, he took all my worries and everything away.
Relaxed. That's his word, not ours. Not hyped, not nervous, not carrying the weight of 3 decades of losing. Relaxed. Why? Because Shedeur had already put in the work. He'd already played the game 1,000 times in his head. He'd already seen every blitz, every coverage scheme, every possible situation. When he stepped on that field, it wasn't his debut. It was just proof of what he already knew.
I would say the thing is, I visualized everything during the week. The game was already played, so that's why I have confidence. That's why I'm able to talk how I talk, walk how I walk, you know, do what I'm able to do, because the game was already mentally played already before we was out there.
That's not luck. That's not just talent. That's what happens when preparation meets opportunity. That's a QB who gets that the mental game is just as crucial as the physical one. That's a dude who learned from one of the greatest athletes ever how to handle the spotlight. But here's where things get even intense. Shedeur didn't just talk about the win. He opened up about the grind that got him there. And it was brutal. 6 months, that's how long he was stuck as a backup, knowing he was better than his spot on the depth chart, knowing he deserved more, knowing everyone was watching and waiting for him to crack. 6 months grinding with the scout team while Dillon Gabriel got all the first-team reps. 6 months of people questioning if he even belonged in the league.
Everybody starts different places, and like I say, just because I didn't get the summer reps, you know, just because I wasn't in the best situation, for me to be prepared to go out there and execute, like, from a summer standpoint, that's how life is. You know, everybody's not in the best situation, you know, but it's no excuse. You got to go out there and perform. Like, there's no choice, there's no question. Nobody cares if this was 1 week of prep.
Listen to that frustration seeping through. Listen to that edge in his voice. This is someone who has been disrespected, underestimated, and dismissed. And he knows it, he feels it, he's lived it. But instead of complaining, instead of making excuses, he turned it into fuel. He took every slight, every criticism, every doubter, and used it to sharpen himself. That's championship mentality. That's the mindset of someone who's going to be special. And then he dropped this bomb about his upbringing, and suddenly, everything made sense.
I grew up, my dad had us in a 30,000 square foot home. Then after that, he took us to go play ball in the inner city. You know, after that, we transferred and he moved us across town because he wanted us to get that dog in us, you know, to have that mentality, to have that it factor in us. So then we went to charter schools, and I don't know if you're familiar with charter schools, and, like, you know, it's not the best, but, you know, you got a lot of different people from different situations that you got to be able to adapt to.
Hold on. Let that sink in for a second. Deion Sanders intentionally moved his kids from privilege to struggle, from a mansion to the inner city, from private schools to charter schools. Why? To give them perspective, to give them resilience, to make sure they understood different worlds, different struggles, different realities. That's not the typical rich athlete's kid story. That's intentional character development. That's a father preparing his son for exactly this moment, where the world would judge him not just on his talent, but on his ability to handle adversity. And it worked, because when Shedeur got thrown into that Ravens game with no preparation, no first-team reps, and no chance to succeed, he didn't break. He learned, he studied, he adapted. And when his opportunity came again against the Raiders, he was ready.
I would say getting thrown into the Ravens game. I say that's what it is. As soon as we got that last drive, I said, oh yeah, this how they play? Then I was able to get right. It's different when you watch it from the sideline. Like, everybody could analyze, everybody could say everything from sideline. You could watch TV, everything. You could talk on TV, whatever you want to do. But until you get out there and you do it, then it's different.
There's the shot at the media. There's the shot at the analysts. There's the shot at everyone who had an opinion about his game without understanding the context of his situation. And he's absolutely right. It's easy to critique from the comfort of a broadcast booth. It's easy to break down film in slow motion and point out every mistake. It's easy to question decision-making when you're not the one standing in the pocket with Max Crosby bearing down on you. But Shedeur lived it. He experienced the chaos. He felt the pressure. And instead of using it as an excuse, he used it as education. And about that fear of Max Crosby and that vaunted Raiders pass rush, that's not bravado, that's belief. That's the confidence that comes from preparation, from talent, and from understanding that he belongs on that field with anyone. But the most powerful moment in the entire press conference came when Shedeur addressed his draft position. 5th round, passed over by 31 teams. 31 organizations that decided he wasn't good enough. 31 front offices that questioned his talent, his arm, his readiness. And instead of being bitter, instead of carrying that chip on his shoulder with anger, he transformed it into motivation.
I was a 5th round pick. I got skipped by everybody at least 5 times. so it's not. It just come with the game. You know, it is what it is. But I'm just thankful for where I am now. You know, I don't. Everybody have their differences. But I still got an opportunity to play. So why can I be mad? You know, money different, but thankfully I have a good.
There it is. The acknowledgement that yes, he fell in the draft. Yes, 31 teams passed on him. Yes, the money is different than it could have been, but none of that matters now because he has something those first-round quarterbacks don't have. He has a chip on his shoulder. He has something to prove. He has the hunger that comes from being disrespected. And here's the kicker. He mentioned his family, the financial stability that allows him to focus purely on football rather than contracts and endorsements. That's the advantage of being Deion Sanders' son that nobody talks about. Not nepotism, not special treatment, financial freedom to chase excellence rather than paychecks. But perhaps the most revealing moment came when Shedeur talked about being a backup and how it forced him to compromise his personality.
Respect the way I go about my business, you know, and being a backup and everything, sometimes you have to compromise your personality and change the way how you do things, you know, to never step on anybody's toes. So the fact that I got an opportunity and I was able to show the organization, show everybody who I really am, then that was truly exciting. So, you know, I was off balance for a little bit, you know, past couple months of my life, but it was different. But I'm thankful, you know, to be back where I am.
Off balance. That's the phrase that matters. For months, Shedeur Sanders wasn't himself. He was walking on eggshells. He was suppressing his personality, his confidence, his natural leadership because he was a backup, because he didn't want to create problems, because he was being respectful to Dillon Gabriel and the organizational hierarchy. But on Sunday, he was unleashed. He was allowed to be himself. And the difference was obvious. The sideline energy, the confidence, the swagger. That's the real Shedeur Sanders. That's the quarterback who led Colorado to relevance. That's the guy who has been there all along,
just waiting for permission to show the world. The rookies rallied around him. Dante Foreman broke off that touchdown run. Isaiah Bond made plays downfield. The offensive line protected him. Why? Because authentic leadership inspires. Because confidence is contagious. Because players respond to quarterbacks who believe in themselves and aren't afraid to show it.
Yeah, all the rookies is extremely special. You know, we go with a term, but I can't say the term on here though. We have a term though. It's called young. You know what I'm saying? but we definitely want to come in and create change, and we have those conversations. We talk, you know, about what we got to do, you know, and be proactive, not reactive. We got to bring the energy sometimes, you know.
There it is, the culture shift happening in real time. The rookies have their own identity, their own language, their own mission. They're not content to just be role players. They want to change the organization. They want to bring energy. They want to be proactive rather than reactive. That's how rebuilds work, not with veterans clinging to past glory, with young players who are hungry, talented, and fearless. And Shedeur Sanders is leading that movement. The most powerful theme throughout the entire press conference was faith, not as a crutch, not as an excuse, but as a foundation. Shedeur mentioned God repeatedly, crediting his faith for giving him peace, for taking away his worries, for allowing him to perform without fear.
That was important, and I'm happy that I was here to be able to witness it. But without God, nothing possible, honestly. And I mean that truly and dearly.
In an era where athletes are often told to keep their faith private, where religion is seen as divisive or controversial, Shedeur Sanders refuses to hide it. His faith isn't performative, it's foundational. It's the reason he could walk into a hostile situation with 1 week of preparation and execute at a high level. And here's what makes this interview so compelling. Shedeur didn't sound like a robot. He didn't sound coached. He sounded like a young man who has been through hell and come out stronger on the other side. He sounded grateful, confident, and determined in equal measure. The closing statement summed it all up perfectly.
I'm just thankful I'm here before y'all, you know, today. And hopefully we cleared a little stuff up, but we have a long way to go, a long way to grow. And I know it's only one way, and the only way.
One game doesn't define a career. One performance doesn't guarantee future success. Shedeur knows this. He's not declaring himself a superstar. He's not claiming he's arrived. He's acknowledging that this is just the beginning. But what a beginning it was. This press conference revealed a quarterback with remarkable maturity, unshakable confidence, and genuine humility. Someone who has been forged in adversity. Someone who understands perspective because he's lived in different worlds. Someone who isn't afraid to be authentic in an industry that often demands conformity. The haters will continue to hate. The doubters will find new reasons to question. The nepotism accusations will persist. But Shedeur Sanders doesn't care. He's not playing for approval. He's playing for excellence. He's playing for his teammates. He's playing for the love of the game. And if Sunday was any indication, the NFL better get ready, because Shedeur Sanders isn't just talented. He's mentally tough in a way that can't be taught. He's been prepared for this moment his entire life, and now that he has the opportunity, he's not going to waste it. The only way is up, and Cleveland is about to find out just how high this kid can fly.